Hello, I'm Rusty Beck, and welcome to Identity, the vlog that explores all the different aspects of who we are. Today is part 2 of my story, What's in a Name, about the girl who called herself Alice Herrara. I'm using this post to respond to many of the initial criticisms about part 1. I agree with all of you who said that just watching me talk into the webcam on my computer wasn't very interesting. So I'm sitting here in an interview room in Major Crimes at the Police Administration Building, sitting in the exact same space where the suspect from Alice's murder allegedly confessed. And with me is Detective Robert Oderno from Missing Persons, who will help me answer some of the questions many of you left in the comment section about why Alice might not have been reported missing by anyone. Detective Oderno, thank you so much for your time.
Glad I could help. The LAPD wants to know who Alice was too.
Well, here's our first question. It's from Alana A., who asks, why is it unsupervised minors are not picked up by the police and returned to their parents?
Well, there are several reasons. First, LA is a mecca to runaway kids because they can be outside here year-round. You can't do that in Boston. Also, if you ask a kid their age and they tell you they're 18, unless you can prove they aren't right then, it's illegal for you to pick them up.
And there's no way for the police to get around that?
Not unless the kid's committed a crime, no. But here's the number one reason we don't go around picking up kids, and that is finding an incorrigible minor.
Wait, incorrigible?
Yeah, that's a status offense. If a juvenile is a persistent runaway or violating curfew rules, like you were a persistent incorrigible.
Right, because I ran away from my foster care situation.
Right. So picking up a kid like you, who's bumping up against 601 in the California Welfare and Institutions Code, that's an all-day work issue for a non-criminal offense.
And that could overwhelm the police?
Easily. On any given night, there's over 4,000 kids sleeping on the streets of LA. And that's not counting the ones in homeless shelters and foster care. It's a social problem, not a felony. I mean, look, it's sad for the kids, but not a crime per se. You want your police arresting violent offenders. We're not a daycare center.
Right. My next question is from Todd H., and he asks, is it possible the girl calling herself Alice was reported missing and the LAPD just didn't know?
Sure. I'm going to throw some statistics at you real quick. Now, nationally, there were over 450,000 minors reported missing last year, and older kids like Alice can fall through the cracks. Now, if a kid is under 14 or suffering from mental illness or a disability, we pull out all the stops. Those are critical missings. But the rest, you know, a lot of those are runaways.
Or throwaways, because some kids get thrown out.
Yeah, but missing people and abandoned people are two very different things. Going back to your own case, for example, you were left in a park at a zoo, right? So you weren't missing.
I see. Do you have time for one more question?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, this is from Gracie A., and she asks, how do kids end up as unsupervised juveniles?
Well, you won't be surprised to hear that drug use figures into lots of those cases, mostly by the parents. Physical and sexual abuse also pushes kids out, gangs, bullying, sexual identity issues, what else? Hansel and Gretel situation, right? So if a single parent remarries or finds a new partner and the other kids from the previous marriage get dumped, in a sense, it's a lot of different things.
Or sometimes all of them.
Yeah.
Thank you, Detective Oderno.
You're welcome.
And I'd also like to thank Buzz Watson for running the camera in the interview room and doing what he's actually not allowed to do with criminal suspects and moving the camera around as appropriate. Well, now that we've answered some of your questions, I'll be back next week where we'll discuss my interview with Slider, the boy who allegedly confessed to Alice's murder. Until then, I'm Rusty Beck, and this is Identity.